Hi guys, and welcome back to the Dollhouse. I'm Maeve, your Wednesday doll, and this week, because I missed last week, I will be talking about both of the topics, which is FTMs and trans friends. Okay guys, so this week I am talking about two topics because, like I said before, I did miss last week. Sorry about that, but let's keep it moving. I'm going to talk about FTMs first. I've known several FTMs in real life. They're just like everybody else, really, just like trans women are just like everybody else. I didn't feel like we had a huge dialogue together around being trans because we weren't very close. We were just acquaintances, so we really never like had conversations about being trans. Really, it was more just friendly hellos and like short conversations and things like that. But they seemed nice enough, and I've always followed trans men here on YouTube because I feel like trans men definitely hold their stake here on YouTube. There are, I feel like, more trans men on YouTube than there are trans women, and a lot of them do amazing, amazing things on their own channels and on similar collaborations to the Dollhouse. And I've always just been very inspired by them. It's just one of those things where I can relate on some level because we are both trans. We may not have the same issues, it's kind of the opposite issues, but we are both trans. And at the end of the day, that is what really kind of matters. And so I have taken cues from trans men, especially when I was first starting transition. I would look at a lot of videos about passing, about just, you know, getting through it mentally, things like that, getting hormones started. And like I said, even though it's an opposite kind of situation, they were still very, very helpful. I think a lot of trans men are really, really hot. And sometimes I think that trans men or a trans man would be the perfect partner for me. And I am completely open to that. I think some people wonder, you know, would two trans people date each other? And in my case, I'm very open-minded when it comes to dating. I just don't ever want to tell myself I can't be with somebody if they make me happy. So if there was a trans man that came around and we both clicked and we were both happy, I feel like that would be absolutely acceptable to me. And it's something that I've even like fantasized about. Like that's something that I think would be so adorable. And I've seen stories like this and stuff on the news. I'm sure you guys have too. And it's always just, like I said, very uplifting, very inspiring. Trans women and trans men do face some different issues, and I think that's because of the fact that it is the exact opposite kind of, but I also feel like it's because we are in a male-dominated society. Trans women kind of deal with the stigma of the fact that they don't want to be men anymore, and that is kind of seen as insulting to our society as a whole because we hold men in such high regard over women. It's like, why would you do that? Why would you want to, you know, chop it off and become a woman when, you know, you're already a man? That's the best thing you can do. That's the best thing you can be in our society. Why would you want to get rid of that? That's disgusting. No, you know, and that's the way a lot of people's parents feel about that. And I understand our world, actually. It's not just, you know, it's our society, it's our world that feels this way about men, and how they're better than women. So I think, and this is just me, you know, coming to my own conclusions. I might be completely wrong. I think they may be treated a little bit differently than trans women are. Maybe they're a little bit more accepted because they're women wanting to become men. So I think that that is kind of maybe more acceptable, but this is something I don't have any experience with. So like I said, I'm just speculating. If I am wrong, if you are FTM and you have a different experience, I'd love for you to share it with me. But yes, I do think that our, you know, problems are different. But at the same time, at the same token, I feel like, you know, the research that I've done where trans women have this bottom surgery, and it can almost be to the point, you know, that it is looking, you know, it's cosmetic, but it could look almost exactly like a cis woman's vagina. It won't operate the same way, but it will look almost the same exact way. Whereas with science and trans men, they haven't actually gotten to that point yet. I have seen, you know, surgeries with trans men who get bottom surgery, and while it's functional in most ways, and is more cosmetically pleasing to them because of their dysphoria, I don't feel like science is at a place yet where they have perfected, you know, the cosmetic look of it and the functionality in some ways also. So, you know, it's kind of a give and take thing. We, like I said, both have our own issues. But I love trans men. I support trans men. I think trans men are amazing. And I think any girl would be lucky to end, or guy would be lucky to end up with a trans man. Just like I feel the same way about trans women. I feel like anybody who ends up with one of us is lucky. So that's kind of my opinion on trans men. As far as trans friends go, because that is this week's topic, I don't have a whole lot of trans friends in real life. I have a lot of trans friends in as far as the internet is concerned. For example, Edie is a really close friend of mine. Avery is a really good friend of mine. Mahogany, you know, the people on this channel I talk to on a regular basis, and there's a lot of other trans girls that I know on the internet, through the internet, and I love them absolutely. They changed my life for the better in a million different ways, and they help me on a daily basis. We help each other, and it makes a huge difference. Now, when it comes to real life, I feel like that's a little bit different. I know 2 trans women in real life, maybe 3, personally. And while they may not have problems with me and I may not have problems with them, I always feel like with trans women in real life, especially when it comes to a nighttime setting at a bar or something, we can be very catty. And, you know, it's just like it is with women, I'm sure. Like, I'm not sure this is not exclusive to trans women, but just women in general. But for trans women, it seems because there are so fewer of us that it's even like higher stakes. And so there's a lot of jealousy, I think, and cattiness that gets thrown around between trans women in real life. And that's very unfortunate, because I think that we should support each other. We should be sisters. It should be easy for us to be with each other and not feel like it's a competition. But, you know, even other people aren't going to make that the easiest for you, because even if you two get along, the way it works with people in society is when they see 2 kinds of one thing that they're aware of that's a little bit more rare, something they don't see that often, like if you're the gay black guy in your group, then they're going to be like, oh, those are 2 gay black guys, I like him more, he's more sassy, or this or that. It's the same thing with trans women. You know, if you have 2 trans women in a group of friends, people will compare them, and those comparisons will drive those women to be jealous of each other if they're not secure in themselves, or to cause a rivalry, which isn't absolutely necessary at all. So as far as friends are concerned when it comes to the trans spectrum, I wish I had more. I wish trans people were allowed to, especially trans women, were allowed to socialize on a level where it wasn't about being the fishiest or the cuntiest or looking the most passable. That's another thing, is, you know, a lot of trans women have issues with each other because some trans women are passable and some trans women aren't. So they don't want to be friends with each other if one isn't passable and one is, because then you'll get the other one clocked. It's a complicated issue, but I am open to having trans friends who are women, especially if they prove to me that they're genuine in their interest in being my friend. I would love to be friends with trans women in real life also, because I feel like it would help me just that much more, and them also. But I just haven't reached that point yet. I would love to one day. But I live in a smaller town, so maybe that's why also. But I would love to meet some of these girls one day, and, you know, I think that'd be a lot of fun. That's pretty much my video for this week. Thanksgiving is tomorrow, so I wanted to say happy Thanksgiving to everybody, and that I wanted to say that, you know, my thanks this year is for the Dollhouse. I love the Dollhouse so much. I love every girl that's been on the Dollhouse, even the ones I really don't like that much. I still love them. They all have a place in my heart, and this channel has a place in my heart, and I'm so thankful that it exists. I'm so thankful that it helps people, and that it has a place here on YouTube, because there wasn't always this space, and now there is, and I think that's amazing, and I hope you guys enjoy it, and I hope you guys have a good holiday season too, and I will see you guys next week. Bye bye.